Hey everyone, so this is a video on how to come up with a thesis and how to write a thesis statement. This is the step that a lot of students have trouble with, and it's the first step in the process. You can't do anything else until you have a thesis, so it's important to get this. So what I'm going to show you is a brainstorming activity that you can do that I have found to be very helpful. It's called a looping, and what you're going to need is a notebook paper, a pen or pencil, and about 15 minutes. And this activity actually comes from Peter Elbow, who wrote a book called Writing with Power in '98. It's not the only brainstorming activity out there, but it's one that I find is effective. So the first thing you're going to want to do is free write for 5 minutes on whatever topic you're working on. So what are your thoughts about the book? What do you wonder? What was confusing? And what you want to do is write whatever comes to mind, and here's the key point, without stopping. If you get stuck, rewrite the last sentence and keep doing this until a new thought occurs to you. So anyone who's never done free writing before, the whole concept is you just write and you never stop. If you get stuck, just rewrite the last sentence you wrote and keep doing this until you have a new idea, and then write that idea and keep going. So try to do that for 5 minutes. If you're having trouble, here's some sentence starters that can help you. So if you're staring at your page and you're not sure what to write, start with one of these sentence starters and just fill in the information. It should help you. So something like, reading this book I learned, write what you learned, or I discovered, or I was surprised that, whatever you were surprised about, because, and then explain why. I wonder because. I would like to find out more. I'm still confused about what happened in the book because, etc. I now realize because, I enjoyed because. So if you find yourself getting stuck, these sentence starters should help you, but again, the key point is to just get as many thoughts on the page as you can in 5 minutes. So here's an example. I enjoyed reading Catcher in the Rye. I wonder why Holden does the things he does. I also wonder why he calls everyone a phony. I was confused because he seems to be a phony himself, sometimes at least. I realize we can all be this way sometimes. So here's an example of when you get stuck. I realize we can all be this way sometimes. I realize we can all be this way sometimes. The idea is to just write the same sentence over and over till you get a new idea. So when I was writing this, I got stuck, and then I had a new idea. I would like to know more about the ducks in Central Park that he's always asking about. I'm still confused about that. Okay, after 5 minutes are up, what you want to do is reread what you've just written. Look for anything that stands out as an emerging theme, something that sparks your thinking. This is a hot spot, for lack of a better term. You may notice that when you read a particular sentence, you have a new thought about it. What you want to do is highlight or circle this hot spot. Then what you're going to do is skip 2 lines and rewrite this hot spot into a complete sentence and do the process again for 5 minutes. So it's going to look something like this. Here's the paragraph that I wrote. Here's a section that I found interesting. This whole idea of Holden calling everyone phony. So I maybe want to look into that a little bit more. So I'm going to write that at the top, and then I'm going to go from there. So it may sound something like this. I also wonder why he calls everyone a phony. I was confused because he seems to be a phony himself, sometimes at least. He doesn't seem to know how to interact with people. Like, for example, the time with the woman on the train where she asks him how her son is doing. He doesn't even know her son, and he could just say so, but instead he makes up a story about how well-liked the guy is. So isn't he being a phony? He hates the world for being a phony, but he's one too. So at the end of step 2, which should take about 5 minutes, you just do what you did and keep finding hotspots and keep looping until a thesis emerges. And a thesis is going to be anything that you want to answer. It's just going to be something that's interesting. It's a question that you want to look more into. Once you think you've found that, it's time to write your statement. So here's a really easy way to do it. What you want to do is just start with identifying the source, then you can select a verb and identifying the main idea. So for example, first part of the sentence, in The Catcher in the Rye, J.D. Salinger, then pick a verb that you think fits what you want to talk about. I picked demonstrates, and then identify the main idea of your looping activity. That we often view what's wrong with the world through the faults of others while remaining blind to our own shortcomings. Once you have this, or some form of a thesis statement, you can then start looking for evidence and you can start analyzing it to prove your thesis. And I have a video on that also. You can check it out. My YouTube channel, HS Language Arts, for high school language arts. I'm going to be putting up more videos, so feel free to leave a comment or a suggestion, and I hope that was helpful. Thanks.